Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a pretty spicy moveset in the Master League Premier Cup, Poison Jab Conkeldurr. I'll be running Conkeldurr on the save switch to try and bait out my opponent's fairy type, typically a Togekiss, where unlike with counter, the combination of Poison Jabs plus Stone Edge is able to flip the Zero Shield. I ran this for a few sets and honestly had a ton of fun with it and was able to surprise some fairy types along the way. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out Poison Jab Conkeldurr in action in the Master League Premier Cup. Hopping into the first match, leading Excadrill into Shadow Snorlax. Pretty neutral lead, so I'm going to be save switching into Conkeldurr, and my opponent is going to respond with a Togekiss. Very nice to bait out the Charmer, and as you can see, the Poison Jabs are chunking. Conkeldurr going for the Stone Edge. Stone Edge able to land, and with the Poison Jab damage, it's enough to KO Togekiss. In the back, they have a Waterfall Gyarados, and my Dragonite is going to absolutely destroy it. They're going to fire off a Crunch. Crunch is no problem whatsoever. I'm going to let that go, continue to farm up, and fire off the Dragon Claw. This is going to come very close to taking them out. Dragon Claw, barely not enough to KO, and they're going to reach one final move. This is only an Aqua Tail, so I can very safely let this go, and then bring in my Excadrill. Shadow Snorlax is a lot worse in this matchup than the regular Snorlax, because 2 drill runs are basically enough to KO the Shadow, whereas the regular can tank 2 drill runs a lot more reliably. So I am going to be committing to shield here. Snorlax does go for the superpower. Either way, this game was over, but since they superpowered, now it's over for sure. Drill run takes out the Snorlax, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Excadrill into Florges, a great lead. Opponent is going to immediately save switch into a Dragon Breath Gyarados. I'm going to stay in with Exca and fire off the Rock Slide, hoping for a shield. Rock Slide does get the shield, and now in comes Conkeldurr. These Poison Jabs again hit for neutral in this matchup instead of the resisted counters, meaning that I can get it into a range where a Stone Edge is going to be enough to one-shot. I am going to commit a shield here because if possible, I want to try and leave with some energy loaded. So I will shield up the Aqua Tail, overfarm quite a bit, and then fire off the Stone Edge. This Stone Edge will KO if it lands. Opponent commits the shield. They farm up, but Conkeldurr is able to reach another Stone Edge. This will be taking out the Gyarados, and I win switch advantage and shield advantage. Florges able to farm down, but it's stuck against my Exca. In the back, they have Haxorus, and Haxorus is being absolutely shredded by these Dragon Breaths. They are very close to the back-to-back moves. First one lands, I go for the farm down, and I'm not quite able to get there. But either way, I'm in the driver's seat of this match. One mud shot is going to KO the Exca. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Hopping into the next match, leading Excadrill into the mirror. I'm going to be staying in this lead to start, but I may decide to make a catch later on. I'm going to stay in, go for the first drill run, but unfortunately I do lose CMP. My opponent goes for a Rock Slide. They were anticipating a catch, but I did not switch out. I fire off the drill run. Drill run does get the shield. It appears it is a coin flip CMP tie. I go for the drill run, but my opponent makes a beautiful catch as they catch the drill run onto Gyarados. I'm going to check the fast move. It's Waterfall, so I can very safely bring in my Dragonite. Dragonite continuing to farm up, and I'm going to fire off the Dragon Claw. I believe they should have the outrage here. Dragon Claw gets them low, and the one Dragon Breath KOs, denying their energy. That is absolutely incredible. Back in comes the Excadrill. Excadrill does have energy, but I'm not in a range where Rock Slide is going to be enough to KO, so I'm going to let that through, continue to farm up, go for the superpower on what I hope is a CMP tie. Superpower gets the shield, and it's CMP. Let's go. That is absolutely massive. I'm going to bring in Conkeldurr, expecting them to switch out, and they do exactly that. They bring in Dragonite. I'm going straight for the Stone Edge. This Stone Edge is going to be doing massive damage, nearly taking out the Dragonite. Dragonite fires off a move, but I'm going to let this go. This is going to be doing less than a drill run, so now they can bring back in Exca. Exca is resisting the Poison Jabs, but Conkeldurr is going to be able to reach the Dynamic Punch, and Dynamic Punch will easily take down the Excadrill, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, picking up an incredibly good lead, Excadrill into Metagross. You absolutely love to see it. Opponent is going to save switch into Snorlax. I could bring in Conkeldurr, but on the off chance they're trying to bait out my fighter, I'm actually going to throw a Drill Run and then bring in my Dragonite. This way I can save my Conkeldurr for whatever they have in the back. They're going to fire off multiple moves. That is perfectly fine by me, as I can survive multiple body slams here, and I'll be able to get it into a range where I can KO with the Dragon Claw, and I can leave with enough energy that I can reach a superpower versus the Metagross. I'm going to be firing off the Dragon Claw. This is going to take out the Snorlax as they let it go. My opponent is just going for farm on Metagross. I'm going to overfarm quite a bit. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get to 2 moves, and I fire off the superpower. Superpower, able to land, and I'm not able to reach a second move. They do have a lot of energy on the Metagross, and that is honestly scary for my Exca. I'm going to bring in Exca, continuing to farm up. I go for the Drill Run, but Metagross does win CMP. I will respect the Earthquake, but I get baited with a Meteor Mash. That is unfortunate. I'm going to fire off the Drill Run. Drill Run, get shielded. My opponent wants to try and grab my final shield. They're going to fire off a move. I am going to respect this with a shield. I want to try and keep my Exca healthy if at all possible. In the back, they have Waterfall Gyarados. I should be able to reach double Rock Slide here. Firing off the first. That lands, and I'm going to fire off the second, and then I can bring in Conkeldurr, and all I have to do is reach a move. I should hopefully be able to get to a Stone Edge before they're able to reach their double Aqua Tail. They are short of the double Aqua Tail here. Gyarados is running Outrage, and that deals massive damage. I'm going to fire off the Dynamic Punch. This will KO, but I'm now very low. Can I Poison Jab down the Metagross? And there's lag. Game, not now. In comes Exca. It's a simultaneous KO and a heartbreaking tie. Hopping into the next match, leading Exca into Snorlax. Since it's the non-Shadow Snorlax, I'm going to stay in here, fire off a Drill Run to get some chip damage, and then save switch into Conkeldurr. Drill Run, able to land, in comes Conkeldurr, and like clockwork, we bait out the Charm User in Togekiss. We've seen if Togekiss lets this through, with the Poison Jab damage, it will KO. Stone Edge gets the shield, Togekiss able to charm down. I'm going to bring back in Exca. I do have a small amount of energy, and that's going to allow me to outpace the Togekiss. I fire off the Rock Slide. Rock Slide takes out the Togekiss and denies their energy. In comes Snorlax. They're going to fire off a move. I'm going to commit the shield. Unfortunately, I do get baited with a Body Slam. I'm going to go straight for the Drill Run. This is not enough to KO, but it will get them low. Drill Run gets the Snorlax low. In comes Dragonite. Dragonite able to farm down the Snorlax, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, picking up the best possible lead I could see, Exca into Magnezone. Opponent is going to save switch into a Dragon Breath Gyarados. I'm going to fire off the Rock Slide. This will either grab a shield or deal a massive amount of damage, and then I can bring in Conkeldurr. These Poison Jabs starting to chip away at the Gyarados and bring it into Stone Edge range. They fire off the Aqua Tail. That's perfectly fine. I can tank one Aqua Tail. It's the second one that I will have to worry about. I'm going straight for the Stone Edge. Stone Edge, able to land and take them out. They're going to be bringing back in the Magnezone here, and if they try and overfarm, I am going to be able to reach the Dynamic Punch. They are farming up, and they overfarm. Conkeldurr able to reach Dynamic Punch. Dynamic Punch one-shots the Magnezone. In the back is Dragonite. From here, this game is over. I can bring in the Exca, force them to Superpower, and then once they Superpower, I can Dragon Breath down with my own Dragonite. Superpower takes me out, but they've now lowered their defense and their attack, meaning I can easily Dragon Breath down with my own Dragonite and secure the victory. Hopping into the next match, leading Excadrill into Conkeldurr. Terrible lead, I'm going to save switch into my own Conkeldurr. They're running counter, whereas I'm running Poison Jab. They get same type attack bonus. They are doing more fast move damage to me than I'm doing to them. I shield the Dynamic Punch, and then my opponent switches in Magnezone. Maybe trying to get rid of the Magnezone since it's not going to have play versus Exca, but they end up shielding the Dynamic Punch, and they're going to fire off a move. They need a Wild Charge to KO here, and that's exactly what they go for. But playing this the way that they did, they have now given my Exca 100 energy just on a plate. They fire off the Wild Charge to try and minimize my farm. I get the farm down and I leave with double Drill Run loaded, and now I can force a shield from Conkeldurr. I fire off the first, that gets them low. Firing off the second, this should be grabbing the final shield from Conkeldurr, and they're still not close to a move. I bring in Dragonite, fast move pressure, forces them to switch out. In the back, they have Mamoswine, and this is exactly why Superpower Dragonite is so deadly. Superpower takes out the Mamoswine. Down goes Conkeldurr as well, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading Exa into Gyarados, and I'm going to stay in here to check the fast move. They are running Dragon Breath, so I can stay in here for a little bit. I'm going to farm up, fire off the Rock Slide. This will do quite a lot of damage if it lands, which it does, and I save switch into Conkeldurr. They are staying in here. The poison jabs are adding up, and they go for a catch onto Metagross. The Metagross matchup is definitely made a lot worse by Conkeldurr not having counter. I fire off the Dynamic Punch. That does quite a lot of damage. I go for the second, but I lose CMP. That's unfortunate. I'm going to let this go. I should be able to bring in Exa. I can't overfarm by too much just because I don't really want to have to shield my Exa. So I overfarm slightly, and I'm going to fire off the Drill Run. Drill Run is going to be able to KO. I know they have a ton of energy on that Gyarados. I'm expecting they're going to blind throw the Aqua Tail. They bring it in, and I'm able to catch onto Dragonite. That is big, but that Gyarados still has so much energy. They switch out, and in the back is Exa. I do live a Rock Slide here, which is quite nice, so I'm going to let that through, and then farm up, and then typically I do like to go straight Superpower in this matchup, but as you see here, I decide to go for a Dragon Claw bait. Surely they have to shield, but my opponent calls my bait, and suddenly I am in absolute shambles here. They fire off the Rock Slide, I commit the shield, I'm going to farm up, fire off another Dragon Claw. At this point, Dragon Claw would be lethal, but they can safely shield here. They're going to fire off a move. I'm going to let this go, and I just have to hope that my Exa is going to be able to take out the Gyarados before they get to 2 Aqua Tails. Back in comes the Gyarados. Gyarados is low, but Mud Shots do basically no damage here. Rock Slide gets the shield. Gyarados farming up, and I think they're at the back-to-back Aqua Tails here. I shield the first, hoping they're not at it, but they are. They're able to get to the second Aqua Tail. That will take out my Excadrill, and unfortunately, we lose the game. Hopping into the final match, leading Exa into Primarina, an incredibly good lead. Opponent is going to save switch into Snorlax, and in case they're trying to bait out my fighter, I'm actually going to bring in Dragonite here. Thanks to Superpower, Dragonite does have a pretty nice matchup versus Snorlax. Snorlax fires off the Body Slam, and that is perfectly fine. I'm going to be able to tank a second Body Slam as well, overfarm quite a bit, and then start launching superpowers at this Snorlax. I continue to farm up. I'm firing off the first superpower. Does the opponent want to commit the shield? They do, but I'm already at a second superpower. This is debuffed, but it's still gonna hurt. Opponent commits both shields, looking for the farm down, and they're able to get it. That is unfortunate for me. I'm gonna be bringing in Exa here. Exa able to outpace the Snorlax. Snorlax was farming up, lost track of Exa's energy, and I'm able to deny Snorlax. In the back, they have Waterfall Gyarados. I bring in Conkeldurr, and they bring in Primarina. I'm gonna fire off the Stone Edge. Stone Edge only hits for neutral here, but these poison jabs have been adding up. It lands, and I'm able to farm down. Gyarados going for the farm down, and they get it. My Exa is going to need to withstand the waterfalls and get to 2 Rock Slides. This is going to be extremely close. Rock Slide gets them low. Gyarados, waterfalls coming through. Excadrill gets to the last second Rock Slide. That will take out the Gyarados, and we win an incredibly close game. All in all, I had a lot of fun using Poison Jab Conkeldurr. The fast move definitely caught some opponents off guard on the save switch, and being able to flip switch versus a Togekiss with Conkeldurr was pretty fantastic. The downside, of course, is going up against those steel types. You can still do quite nicely against Exa, because Dynamic Punch is going to be one-shotting no matter what, but going up against something like Metagross, it turns from an okay matchup into an absolutely terrible matchup, which means that if someone switches in a Metagross, your Conkeldurr is going to be in a lot of trouble. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.